Hey everybody, this is Alchemist and welcome back to Star Trek Online Rise of the Red Shirt. This week we're going to be tackling Mine Enemy, which is much more of a traditional sort of mission, although it has a couple cool things of its own. Most notably the environment when you start. So, yeah, let's get to it. Again, I'm trying to get that round table together, so I'm saving my rants for there because, that round table we're going to be discussing has been expanded to the season 7 post-mortem, and I also want to cover the recent Starbase featured project in there as well. We'll also be going over the Ask Cryptic, and I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Maybe sometime this week, maybe sometime next. I'm still trying to get a hold of a couple of people and nail down precisely when we're going to be doing it. But yeah, still trying to get that started, and if it doesn't come to pass, I'll make a video going over all that stuff and my thoughts on it. But for now, I really want this story arc done with, so let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and start Mine Enemy. Let's see. See, reports of illegal weapon use spoil the mission. Well, not as much as a lot of the other descriptions. Reports of an illegal weapon. Yeah. I should probably say that I've just woken up. It's 1 in the morning. Reports of illegal weapons use on the Fihar lead you to evidence of greater atrocities. Let's go ahead and start that, and I won't have to voice act this intro again. I know I can't get used to this because I'm going to have to be doing it again with the Cardassian missions, but right now, it's kind of nice.
Starfleet intelligence has decoded the list of Reman targets that you recovered from the vault. I need you to investigate one of these locations and determine why Obasek and his forces planned an attack there. The Vahar system is still technically part of the Romulan Star Empire, but Ferengi speculators have moved in, and the Empress has done nothing to remove them. The Ferengi have reopened the mines, and are now doing business with anyone with Latinum. You will go to the Vahar system under the pretense of negotiating a possible trade agreement with the Federation. Talk to Madron, the operator of the mines. Convince him to allow you access. Find out all you can. Once we know why Obasek and the Remans are targeting these mines, then we will be able to decide how to proceed.
And as your reward, you can obtain a Horta hatchling, polyalloy, and 2 versions of body armor that really, like this one gives you 45 extra hit points. It says 45.5 extra hit points. That's 45. This one gives you some HP regeneration. So if you're seriously going to take one of these as your equipment, if this is your first time to the game, go for the regenerating HP. The extra HP won't do you any good at all, basically. Because you'll die and you won't be able to heal as quick. So, go with the regenerating HP. That's also polyalloy weave armor, energy harness armor. I don't know, I've never really had much luck with energy harness armor, to be honest. I've always preferred polyalloy weave armor. Just go for that. Your shields can absorb energy damage anyways, and if you've got a high physical resistance, then you're not going to die as quickly when like a Borg drone or a Klingon Dahar Master fucking bum rush you, so. Not that the Borg bum rush anyone, although Armek should, instead of being the massive rage quit he is right now. So you can get a Horta hatchling. This is a non-combat pet, and normally I would recommend getting it as it is somewhat unique, but this game has far too many pets in it already that do absolutely nothing. So unless you are going for the Horta mineralogy research, unless you're going to use this to craft a Horda, and it's really not craft a Horda. It's not a crafting system. It's basically just more currencies that you like stick in a vendor, and like an item pops out of the soda can slot in the front of it. That's what it is. It's not crafting at all. It's pretty bad. But you know, unless you're going for like the combat Horda, which can be a boon in certain situations, you know, skip on the hatchling, get the polyalloy weave armor, and sell it, and you'll get more value out of that. Again, one of the lockboxes is a reward is an optional reward that you can choose to get. And again, do not get a lockbox, for the love of God. Okay? If you choose that lockbox, I'm going to find you. I'm going to go to your house, and I'm going to bring the retail case for Star Trek Online. Okay? And I'm going to poke you with it all day and all night. And you're going to be really angry. And you're going to be really irritable. And you're going to snap at your neighbor. And then your neighbor's going to be mean at you. And it's going to make you sad. So don't be sad. Don't take a lockbox. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm warning you. Don't do it. Anyways. Let's get this crap done. And of course it's not primary, because why would it ever make a mission? You've just taken the primary. Let's go to Fihar. Well, that's interesting. Well, this is actually a new bit of music that I think was introduced recently with Malrihan. I thought it was unique to Malrihan, because that's the only place I ever heard it. Apparently I was wrong. Or at least, have I heard this elsewhere? It's an okay song. It's alright. I imagine the 500th time it'll probably be less so. Like the rest of the good music in this game that plays randomly. Sometimes at inappropriate moments. It's a good song on its own, though. Again, it's playing kind of a time that's inappropriate because nothing's really happening, but whatever game. I usually play this game with this. Can you tell I usually play this game with the music off? I actually, yeah. I have a playlist, an amp that I listen to when I play the game, and I like pick and choose what music to play when. Makes the game so much better when good music plays at like a time and in a situation that is appropriate. Just saying. Look into that. Captain, the Remans were targeting a magnesite mine in the area, but the list we recovered didn't have its exact coordinates. I know we're in the right area, but all of the moons in this system are inhabited and our sensors are being affected by the magnesite. We'll need to contact each moon to try and determine which one the Remans were actually targeting. How is the magnesite affecting the sensors? 'Cause magnets? Please tell me it doesn't just boil down to 'cause magnets. Because this ship has sensors that are capable of piercing the veil of reality. They did that in TNG. Like in TNG, they tuned the Enterprise's sensors so sensitive, to such sensitivity that they were able to probe subspace so deeply that it pissed off a species that was native to subspace. Like, it wasn't like the Shivans came after them, but that, like, this group of aliens started running experiments on, like, the crew while they were still alive. Like, detaching Riker's arm and putting it back together, that sort of stuff. Like nightmare, like taking them in their sleep and doing nightmare stuff to them. There was a Voyager episode that was basically the same concept, albeit not as well done, or as creepy. But, like, I remember there was a Voyager episode where, like, Janeway, there were, like, these invisible people experimenting on the crew, and, like, Janeway's got her head in, like, a vice, and that's why she's been having, like, headaches for so long. You know, it's... But it wasn't as well done. The point is, the Starfleet has sensors capable of looking into what is basically another reality. That's kind of what subspace is. I mean, it's never been entirely well-defined what it is, but it's kind of how it's treated. So why the hell is magnesite affecting the sensors? And if it's a mine for magnesite, is that a common mineral between these three planetoids? Do all three of these have, like, huge deposits of magnesite? Why aren't the other ones being mined? Which mine were they targeting? Why? It is, well, those last two, at least, are answered. But you get where I'm going with this, right? Anyways. Like, this music could be really great if it were played at a time where there was actual tension. You know? Like, if it was played at a time where there was actually, like, something dramatic going on. Right now, nothing's going on. You've stuck your nose in our business for the last time, Starfleet! All ships attack! Okay. This is one of the more atmospheric tracks in the game. There aren't very many of them. At least it doesn't start atmospheric. It starts very brassy. Or stringy, I guess. That's probably strings, not brass. Then it gets atmospheric. See, that sort of, like, really low-tempo ambience is something that this game really needs. See, when the music is all... It's kind of this thing where, like, when all the music is brassy and triumphant, none of it is. Go away, Avast. You know, when all the music is, like, over-the-top awesome, none of it is. If you get where I'm going there. And there's some gorgeous music on Malrihan. You know, the sort of music the game kind of desperately needs more of. When you go, like, I remember, like, I went to the Atlay and there's just this, like, gorgeous theme playing. And I'll upload it. I'll see if I can take some gameplay footage and upload that song, because it really is very, very good. And it's the kind of music this game really needs. That and it needs music to not play at random intervals. Okay? This shouldn't be a problem. This wasn't even a problem for games back on like the PC and like the late 90s. You know, playing music at random. Like even in Doom, they have map-based music. Okay, even in Doom, even Final Fantasy VI on the SNES had situational music play based on what was going on in the story. I know it's a lot of work to do. It would be a lot of work to go back through all the missions, and I know that if what Dan Stahl says is to be believed, they've got a lot on their plate. But still, kind of blows that the music is so random. This moon is private property. No solicitors, beggars, or Starfleet allowed. They're not very hospitable around here, are they? This is a dangerous area, and it's only gotten worse since the destruction of Romulus. It might be difficult to get someone to trust us. Alright, that's enough goofing around. Duh! The hell was that? That's a good sign. When the game randomly locks up for a moment. Hell Moon Coal. Hello, my good friends. I'm so happy to meet you. Perhaps you are in the market for some high-quality magnesite. We have the finest ore in the quadrant. On behalf of the miners and residents here, I'm more than happy to welcome you to our home. Please, transport to the surface. Unfortunately, the large amounts of extremely pure magnesite ore in the core of our little world will interfere with your sensors. For safety reasons, I must insist that you use the transporter signal enhancers that I have installed at my own expense. Also, I know you Starfleet types are so fond of your away teams, but could you please restrict the number of crew you bring down to the surface? My people here aren't used to strangers and wouldn't want to disrupt their work, would you? It's actually, and you wouldn't want to disrupt their work, but yeah. Continue. Ready to beam down at your command, Captain. So, Lima is coming with me again as the Hazard Team's badass healer. Badass / healer. Badass / badass healer. So here we have one of the cooler things about Mine Enemy is you actually beam down to this this mining shanty town, and depending on how cluttered this map is, it may or may not run very well. But you actually beam down to this shanty town, and what's going on over here? So these are all basically like Romulan refugees. Refugees from the destruction of Romulus and the collapse of the Romulan Empire who are working in this place. You see like a little maglev over there. Well, it's not really a maglev. It's more they've like anti-grav tables traveling down this. It's reminiscent of one though. I think that's like the visual visual connection they're going for with that. And these guys are refugees of the destruction of Romulus and the collapse of the Romulan Empire, and they've come here to live and or work and basically survive. And this map's really well done. This map, I would have loved if this map had become a social zone. Like the mine at this place, Fihar. At least I think it's called Fihar. I think the H is kind of silent. Silent or soft. And And I really wish that this had become like some sort of social zone, because it's a really well done map, and they probably should have gotten a little more mileage out of it than they have. But oh god, there's techs here, so be wary. Please, have you seen my brother? Tell me about your life here. My life? My life is unimportant. It's my brother. I can't find him. Maybe I can help. How long has he been missing? I last saw him 2 days ago. Madron assigned both of us to work in the upper level of the mine. Tosin's drill bit broke, and he needed a new one. I know I should have went with him. It's not safe to be in the mine alone. Now he's gone. Why isn't it safe to be in the mine? There's a group of people down there who treat the mine like it's their own. I don't know why Madron tolerates them, but they make life miserable for the rest of us. They steal and they terrorize the weak. Once I saw them dragging a woman into the lower levels, and I never saw her again. She wasn't the only one. Many people have disappeared. I thought if my brother and I kept our heads down that we would be safe, but maybe they took him. Murderers. If they've killed my brother, I'll kill them all. Is there anything else I should know? If you go into the mine, watch for the silver spheres. There are creatures in the dark. Devils. They are made of stone. Nothing can hurt them, and their touch burns. I've seen them moving around in the tunnels. Anywhere you see the silver spheres, the monsters are not far away. Okay. Always on your alert in Hi-Fi-Har. So we have the main plaza of this place. You have this searchlight that's constantly scanning the area. Really cool atmospheric map that they really should have gotten more mileage out of. Like, this place should have been a social zone. Like, maybe it could have been something like Drozana. Like, you have this guy who's contracting out to, who's selling magnesite to both the Federation and the Klingons. And so you have, like, Starfleet and Klingon players hanging out here. And, each has their own, building, their own base on this planet. Their own forward station to move the magnesite so it can be picked up and shipped off. Something like an embassy. This map is really great, and they really should have gotten more mileage out of it than they have, because they clearly put a lot of work into it. Imagine it for a moment. Imagine, because Sci-FiVERSUS needs a social zone. I think every sector block in the game should have a major hub where you can do your business. It should have, every sector block. That's not him saying that. That's her. Every sector block in the game should just have, a major hub where you can, at the very least, do your banking and change your ship's gear. And, select a ship. Access the exchange. Every sector block should have something like that, so that you're not constantly having to fly only to K7 or only to Earth space dock, or everybody has their preferred starbase in the game, and it's basically the starbase they feel they can most easily get to with as little fuss as possible. That rules Earth space dock out for a lot of people, because Earth space dock is cluttered as hell and it's bloated and sucks. The map is fine. It's just the pointless NPCs wandering through it. It's just, yeah. And part of it is the player base's fault. Yes, I said it. Begging them to increase the instance size. Like, it used to be you only had so many players in an instance, and then they basically, like, begged Cryptic to make the instances have more people in them, and the end result is Deep Space Nine. For the longest time during the STFs, when the STF's conversions happened and Deep Space Nine was turned into the STF hub, for the longest time, which it no longer is, by the way, that lasted less than a year. Did it last less than a year? I think it lasted less than a year. I'm not sure. But Deep Space Nine was unnavigable in sector space because there were so many people there, you couldn't even see the station. There were so many players around it, you know, because there are too many people allowed in each instance. That's probably part of the reason why Earth Space Dock is as bloated as it is. That and the fact that they ham-fistedly force you to go there multiple times in the game. In fact, if you acquire a new ship, and like if you purchase a ship from the C-Store and you commission it, and it gives you the option to change ships, and even if you are standing next to a ship selector in K7 and Deep Space Nine, in Starbase 39, you know, on Bajor, you know, even if you are standing next to a ship selector, it will force you to go to Earth Space Dock to change ships if you click that button. It will tell you, you can only do it at Earth Space Dock, would you like to go there now? The answer is no. I would like to do it at a starbase that doesn't lag my PC. My 2 cents. As far as like that goes, but they really need to like spread it out a bit, and I think like making a existing social zone in each of the sector blocks, a place where Starfleet and Klingon players can just do their business, you know, would probably help a lot. And in this case, they've already got a map for it. I don't know why they haven't used this. The map is great looking. You know, you got like Maglev. You got like they're supposed to be highly reminiscent of Maglevs, but they're using the anti-grav beds. I already said that, but you already got like this like monorail system here. You got like this really atmospheric map. This searchlight is awesome. You know, it looks like this really roughshod, really ham-fistedly run refugee camp, and that's what they were going for with this map, and they nailed it. So I don't know why they don't use this map anymore. They only used it once. It's sad. I think it's a Foundry asset, but I haven't really seen it in a mission, at least. Jolan True, stranger. Have you always lived here? My family and I have been here all our lives. It's a hard life, but it's all I know. My mother used to tell me tales of the homeworld. She'd talk about the plazas in Roteg, or vacations she spent with her father on the shores of the Apnex Sea. And she would tell me about my father, who gave up his place in the military evacuation ship so she could live. He never knew he had a child. She would tell me these stories, and later, when she thought I was asleep, she would cry. Tell me about Madron. He charges us too much and pays too little. He is like everyone else in this world, out for himself. But he doesn't let us starve, and if a child needs medicine, they get it. Many here grumble and hate him, but I cannot. If I were in his position, and his life was in my hands, can I say that I would act differently than he does? What can you tell me about this area? Stay in the settlement. Don't go down into the mine, and whatever you do, don't leave this area. I do not wish you harm, stranger, and there are many dangers here. There is a group. They rule the mine, and they are dangerous. Even Madron fears them. If you avoid them, they will ignore you. Defy them, and they will turn on you. Last week a good man died because he would not give them what they wanted. He was not the first. There are many monsters on this moon that you would be wise to avoid. Outside of the settlement there are packs of wild animals. If you take a werewolf from its mother when it is very young, it can be tamed. If you wait too long, they are savage. Packs of wild werewolf roam the edges of our settlement. Often they prowl the refuse piles looking for scraps of food. A pack of werewolf can kill even a strong man. You must be careful when you are in their territory. And they are not the only monsters here. The miners tell stories about creatures made of stone who can burn you to cinders. I have not seen one of these creatures myself, and I know that many people who enter the mine do not leave it. Have you seen anyone suspicious around here? You are the first outsider I have seen in a long time. There is no reason for anyone to want to come here. Okay. I like this. I like being able to just, like, walk up to people and talk to them. May have something to do with the fact that I played a crap ton of JRPGs. Well, hi. We don't see strangers here very often. What do you want? Tell me about your life here. What can I say? We exist. I mine because there is nothing but rocks on this forsaken planet. If I am lucky, I dig enough ore to make my quota, and Madron pays me. If he pays me, I can eat, and I have a warm place to sleep. If we don't make our quotas, there's nothing. And if I do have latinum, most of it goes to Madron to pay my debts, and the rest he takes in exchange for the supplies he imports. I would leave, but I owe too much to Madron to ever earn enough to buy passage off this place. Besides, where would I go? Tell me about Madron. Every morning, the first thing I do when I wake is curse that Ferengi's name. Madron found this moon about 2 years after the destruction of the homeworld. Most of our equipment was broken or useless. The supplies were gone and we were starving. After some negotiations, Madron had his contracts, and we had food. We're supposed to be working with him, but he is the only one who benefits from our labor. Madron owns the only working ship here, so no supplies come in without him. He negotiates all of the ore contracts, so most of the latinum goes into his pocket. And he sets the prices for food, medicine, and equipment, so everyone here owes him more than we can ever repay. He owns us now. I hate him for that, but I can't live without him. Do you get help from the Empire? The Empire? What Empire? Our Empire turned to dust with the loss of the homeworld. If you're rich or in the military, then maybe there is something. I hear that the people in Sayla's shining city on the radar system live quite well, as long as they obey her commands. For the rest of us, there is nothing but dust and regrets. The Federation has sent aid. We wish to help all the remaining Romulan refugees. I have heard this, but I have not seen that it is true. Are you going to go to every Romulan on every world and hand them bread? Because that is the only way that you can help all of us. The strong take from the weak. Sayla and her ships are strong. The Tal Shiar is strong. Your aid goes to fill their bellies and heal their wounds, Starfleet, not mine. Okay. On behalf of everyone on this forsaken rock, let me be the first to welcome you to Fihar. As you can see, we don't have time for pleasantries, and I'm not sharing my Tranya stash with you, so why don't we skip the chit-chat and get down to business? Of course. I've heard you're an excellent source of magnesite. What makes your mind better than the others in the sector? Unfortunately, I cannot call this mine my own. I'm just a middleman. Out of the goodness of my heart, I help the residents here pass on the products of their hard work to commercial entities such as yourself. The minuscule transaction fee and trade tariff I keep to offset my expenses is figured into the unit cost of the ore. My operation has become one of the best in the area because of the high demand for my services from both sides. I provide the best mining equipment and supplies in the sector to the miners, while my customers get competitive pricing on the ore they need. Do you have any more information about the mines themselves? I don't pay much attention to that. Miners have empty carts, and they return with ones filled with ore. If you're that interested, you could visit the mines themselves, but I don't recommend it. It's such a dirty, disagreeable business, and I'm convinced that breathing ore dust for too long is terrible for you. The miners who live near my quarters used to keep me up at night with their dreadful coughing. I had to install soundproofing just to get some sleep. Are you sure you wouldn't rather look at the ore I have for sale? Thanks, but I'd like to talk to the miners first. Really? Well, suit yourself. Just remember, I have an exclusive contract to export magnesite ore from this moon. If you try to cut me out of your deals, you'll regret it. I just have a few questions before we conduct any business. I'll be back when I'm done. Madron won't answer any questions about why the Remans might be targeting this place for fear of scaring us away from a possible sale. Perhaps if we ask some of the locals about what's going on here, they'll be able to provide more information. Okay, so here is where the objectives come in. There is, much like the previous featured episode series, well, not the previous featured episode series, but, what am I thinking? Much like Doomsday Device or Stranded in Space, there are objectives for each. There's a tactical objective, engineering, and science. Tactical is the easiest. It's basically find these guys who are causing trouble and kick their asses. Or kill them, because this game's really fond of wanton murder. I can't talk to you. I can't talk to anyone. I'm on the run, and if those thugs see me talking to you, then you'll be in danger too. Is there anything I can do to help? I need someone who's not afraid of a fight. There's a group here that are beating and stealing from us. Madron doesn't do anything to stop it. For all I know, he's getting a cut of everything they take. They're making life miserable for all of us. Would you be willing to help? Count me in. There's a group of bullies that have been stealing from us. If we don't give them what they want, they beat us. I had a friend. All he was trying to do here was feed his family. Be a good man. He had an old bottle of ale. He said it was from the homeworld. One of those thugs wanted it. Now my friend is dead. I'm too weak to stop them, I know that. And now I have my friend's children to feed in addition to my own. But if someone were to teach them a lesson, the camp will be a better place for all of us. So now we go on the STO equivalent of a hired hit against a bunch of refugees bullying other refugees. I'm not joking. That's what's going on here. Yeah. You alright? Okay. Alright, let's look at the map. Clearing the quarry, alright. Gonna go around. That's what's happening here. Alright. I mean, it's a fun little side quest, but still. Would probably be better if they weren't, like, dead. This is my claim! Uh-oh. Easy, dude. Easy. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Stay. Damn it. Anyways, one of the reasons I find this, I don't really like this bit much, even though it is, again, it's a fun little side quest, is there could have been some really great gameplay and story integration here. Off the top of my head, take the pulse wave, for example. Why does a phaser shotgun exist? Well, off the top of my head, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Starfleet security. Starfleet security wanted a weapon for hostage rescue. So they made a extreme wide beam phaser rifle that can stun people in an extremely wide radius without draining all of its power, like a phaser pistol might. So if there's a hostage situation and negotiation fails, Starfleet security can go in there and stun wave everybody and sort things out after the situation has been diffused. Because it's a weapon on stun, it's non-lethal, so they can save the hostages and avoid having to kill the people who took them. So maybe, you know, maybe they're just stunned. It wouldn't be too hard to do that, because that's what happened. That's what happened in Everything Old is New. At least that's what I roleplay the pulse wave as, like my character's non-lethal option, basically, because he was Starfleet security. Or at least that's what I'm going to now that I came up with it. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna. That's what it is. That's his non-lethal option. So they're not dead. Because I say they're not dead. Okay. So there's one more gang bullying people, and they're all the way over there. Again, this music's pretty bad. Again, this is atmospheric music. This is really good music. Come off like a hypocrite saying that, like really slowly paced atmospheric music. I don't know what kind of music should play in this place. In fact, this place actually reminds me, if you ever played the Dot Hack games, that's what it keeps reminding me of. Is if you ever played Dot Hack Quarantine, this place reminds me a lot of, like, the Sigma server. It reminds me a lot of Net Slum, if you've ever watched or played a Dot Hack game. That's what this place reminds me of. Okay. Is there anything I can do to help? Okay. That's the engineering objective, so we won't be covering that. Because I am not an engineer, nor do I have a player with me who is. So where is somebody we can speak to regarding the goings-on in this place? You! You'll do. I'm sorry, I can't really talk at the moment. I have to finish the survey of the area so the miners can start work on a new mine shaft. Is there anything I can do to help? As much as I'd appreciate someone else to lug around this heavy equipment, it's all very delicate, and I'd only trust a capable scientist to help me. If I encounter someone who can help, I'll send them your way. Alright, I think we just gotta go back to that one guy then. Like everybody else we can talk to is gonna be like either optional objectives or fluff. Fluff is cool in a mission. It's a little bit of world building is really cool. Fluff content, no, not so much. Thank you. Those guys have been giving everyone a lot of trouble. These thugs are part of a larger group that operates deep inside the magnesite mine. They control the lower levels, and no one who goes down there uninvited ever comes back. I don't know what's so important down there that it's worth hurting us to protect it. Maybe if you went down there, you could get some answers. You have no inventory in stock. You want to go into the mines? Are you really interested in any magnesite, or are you just here to cause trouble? Because if it's the latter, I know someplace you can start a little ruckus. There's a gang that controls the bottom levels of the mine. They won't even let me in there. Previously, I allowed them to keep their little kingdom in exchange for information, but lately they've been more trouble than they're worth, and the intel they're feeding me is useless. Honestly, who doesn't know about the Breen invasion? Honestly, who doesn't know about the Breen invasion of Deferi space? I'll take that information to heart. Okay. Enter the magnesite mine. I'll wait for the red alert to stop. I don't want to accidentally piss somebody off down here. God, that lasts a really long time. Thank you. Almost lasts too long. Leave now! What's your boggle, brah? Nobody's going to get... Two people I know of might get that. What do you want? I'd like to enter this area. This area is restricted. Only people my friends and I like may enter. And I don't like you. I'm very likable. Just ask Madron. Madron? That big-eared money grubber doesn't know the first thing about what really happens here. All he does is collect his latinum and make the miners miserable. That's strange. He suggested that you provide him with information as well as with magnesite ore. Oh, it's information you want. Allow me to provide a free sample. Leave right now. Otherwise, well, there's a lot of ways to get injured in a mine. It would be a shame if something happened to you and the magnesite prevented your crew from beaming you back to your ship in time. I'm not here for the magnesite. I was told there was someone here I could deal with discreetly. Are you that person or not? What makes you think we have anything to sell beside rocks and magnesite? People looking to sell ore don't usually have secured caves with guards giving out complimentary interrogations to anyone who gets near. Fine, fine! You're Janek's problem, not mine. I'll let her know you're on your way. Thank you. Diplomacy. Tier 4 diplomacy. They need to do more of that. They need to do more of like commendation categories integrated into dialogue or interacts. You know, they need to do more stuff like that. Like, you could go through an area and just shoot everyone, or if you have a high enough engineering commendation rank, you could go over to this place, trigger anethrazine gas, and knock everybody out. Either approach is valid. You can do one or the other. But you have the option of which to do now. You know? They need to do more of that in integrating commendation categories into the gameplay. That would give this game a lot more depth than it has. And the game has depth, but most of that is in customization and space combat. Hi! I'm here to check out your local... Ow. You know, there's not like a lot of depth in the story missions, at least not the non-featured episode ones. There's that music again. This is actually a fairly decent time for it to play, so... Captain, there are a series of pressure plates located in this area. They're low-tech, but the Romulans may have had to resort to outdated security measures because of interference from the magnesite veins in this cavern. The problem is that the magnesite is making our tricorders almost useless. If there's anything on this moon that the Remans will want to eliminate badly enough to use Thalaron weapons, it has to be here. We're going to have to figure out how to use the pressure plates to reveal whatever the Romulans are trying to hide. I suspect that we need to activate 2 of them to open the door. And they illuminate them. Okay, you stand on that one. No, you gotta stand on it. You gotta stand on it. You gotta stand on it, Lima. So it's... Yeah. No. There we go. Lock in positional coordinates. Alright, use hidden door. That was weird. And music is about to become inappropriate in 3, 2, 1.
I give the orders here, Commander. You are out of line.
With all due respect, sir, there's a difference between protecting the Empire from her enemies and provoking
There is
them.
much here you cannot understand, Jack. The Remans need to know their place. As do you. I will not forget your insubordination, Commander. The Tal Shiar has no place for officers who cannot follow orders. I'll be in the command center.
Colonel, they were civilians! Their blood is on our hands!
Get used to it. There will be more. Speaking of which, why don't you clean out the brig before you become a resident there?
Oh my god. Those running animations. Why are they running? How about that dead-eyed stare, huh? The dead-eyed stare of the guy in charge. Whew. The analysts in this room look completely engaged in their work. I wouldn't be surprised if we can sneak past them without being noticed. So each of these things holds a vast volume of text that I'm going to have to read. Oh shit. So much for sneaking. And that day, not a single shit was given. Take items. There we go. My inventory like. Ah, I got room.
I almost feel sorry for you, but I have my own neck to worry about. I'll be joining you in there soon enough. If Hakiv has his way, we all will.
Da. All prisoners will be released. So yeah, you can get yourself like a little army going here, basically. I think there's 4 captured miners that you can, whose aid you can enlist. Yeah, there's 4 of them. Hi. Oh crap. Oh crap. Phew. Give me one reason why I shouldn't end you for dropping a Thaler on mine when I was trying to let you go.
Enough! I surrender. I value my life more than the Tal Shiar's secrets. I'll tell you anything you want to know. But first you must tell me why you are here and what you want.
Why do the Remans want to destroy this base?
The Remans know about this base? Impossible. Only the leadership of the Tal Shiar know we're here. The Empress herself couldn't find us. I don't believe you. But it makes no difference. This is not a military installation. We listen and record here, nothing more. There are many targets those Reman scum would find much more tempting.
I'll need more than your word that this base is as harmless as you say.
Colonel Hakiv will want my blood for this, but take my security code. You can use it to access the control room. You'll find everything you're looking for there. You have what you need. Now please, leave me alone. The Tal Shiar will not look kindly upon my betrayal. I will need to act quickly if I am to survive.
Well, she's actually got a Romulan tricorder. So she gets a Romulan tricorder. Do the Klingons have their own tricorder model? Like, do they have their own tricorder model? Because I don't think they do. So I was actually, when I was playing through Cloaked Intentions, I was actually looking forward to having, like, a Romulan, like a Tal Shiar survivor join the crew. That's what I thought the reward was going to be. It turned out to be a Reman, and Revan's cool. But I was really looking forward to having Romulan. Oh, crap. Here we go. Well, reading that text is not going to be a problem now. Oh, cursor. Oh, Tribble. Screw that Tribble. So yeah, the miners will follow you through the place. It's actually probably, I don't know if you can free them at, towards the very end of this mission, but if you want them to survive, unless you've got a weapon that can basically like almost insta-kill most of the enemies you're going to be coming up against, like this thing probably will, then you're probably going to want to wait to free them so they don't all die. If you care about such things, you horrible person. Let's go ahead and read these. Observed from holofeed on Radar 3. So this is basically all of their observation operations, like the notes that have been taken. Increased power use in Royal Palace indicates that lower levels may be in use. Senator Shimek is accepting bribes in exchange for slowing progress on trade agreements. Erosion representatives meet with Sayla. Reman representative removed from Senate chamber. Opposition leader Tayton assassinated. 3 reunification proponents arrested. Agents for Sayla meet with True Way leaders near Badlands. So yeah, this mission basically, I think what they were trying to do is set up future stories they wanted to tell that have never happened since. There's some good Starfleet activity. There's some good story potential in these if they ever get around to doing them. Observed from captured holofeed in Earth space dock. Captain Sulu has applied for transfer to the front lines of Klingon conflict. That's old. There was a period where Sulu, for those of you who are new to the game, there was a period when Sulu had transferred out, and Samuel Winters, the current first officer of the Enterprise, had taken his place as Quinn's aide. Sulu plays a role in the STF Undine Terradome, and he basically transferred out and gotten command of his own ship, and then for reasons only known to Cryptic, transferred back to being Quinn's aide from being in command of a frontline vessel. Anyways, Admiral Quinn under medical care for heart condition. Intercepted Starfleet medical records indicate that the condition is fully treatable and not a suitable target for exploitation. 7th Fleet entered neutral zone as part of a routine series of exercises. Franklin Drake heading extended operation at Eta Eridani sector block. It's a reference to the Davidian featured episode series that takes place there. Starfleet Command considering new tactics in conflicts with the True Way. Starfleet Intelligence concerned with rise in war profiteering by independent Ferengi and Optarians. So there's actually one good thing about the way they've reshuffled the missions. I still maintain that Cloaked Intentions probably should have been left as one of the last things in the game at the time when they did it. At the time when they reshuffled the missions, it should have been left where it was. But one of the good things about where it is right here, one of the things it does well, is it really sets up the next story arc of the game, because you start hearing a lot about the True Way in this room and what they're up to. Observed from holofeeds on Kronos. Chancellor Jimpock facing increasing challenges from members of the High Council loyal to House of Martok. A Klingon story that's never reached fruition. It's mentioned early on in the Klingon story arc that the House of Martok is secretly opposing Jimpock because he's nuts, basically. And like the Klingon story arc itself, it goes absolutely nowhere. The Klingon story arc on the Klingon side. It goes absolutely nowhere. It's never spoken of again. The Klingons really suffer from like zero content. Like most of their content at this point is faction agnostic, meaning it was developed for the Federation, and like 1 or 2 things were rewritten to make it plausible for a Klingon to be doing this, and that's it. So yeah, Klingon story pretty screwed. Alliance between House of Jimpock and House of Duras is weak. Situation highly exploitable. Recommend we seek agents on Kronos. Many members of decommissioned House of Torg have been absorbed into House of Duras. KDF leadership angered by High Council's mandate to work more closely with Klingon intelligence. Fek'liri forces in region massing under new leadership. Melani Dian seen entering home of Drex, son of Martok. Gorn pushed for representative on High Council, rejected. Now, a lot of this is just teasing, and it's a bit unfair for Klingon players to be teasing this much when none of this has come to pass in any significant way. Like, Fek'Liri forces in region massing under new leadership. What does that mean? The Fek'Liri are fucking demons, okay? They're literally demons from Klingon hell. So, whose leadership are they massing under? Like, are they implying the Iconians have something to do with the Fek'Liri? That would be interesting. They've never done it. Let's see. Gorn push for representative on High Council, rejected. That's another thing that supposedly should have been going on but hasn't been, is the Gorn Rebellion. Let's see. Read logs on Borg activity. Observed from captured holo recordings in the Delta Quadrant. How? How? The Delta Quadrant what? Resistance is futile. Well, that's great. I'm more alarmed that the Romulan Empire is apparently in the freaking Delta Quadrant. How? Let's see. Observed from holofeed on Cardassia Prime. Detapa Council petitions Federation to fund Lacarian City infrastructure projects. 47. There's 47 again. Injured in bombing at University of Kulst. Trueway claims responsibility for attacks. Or Kulat, not Kulst. It looks almost like an S. Small text. Detapa Council passes bill allowing Cardassian government to seize assets of persons convicted of terrorist activity. Councillor Meram Okanda resigns. Starfleet sending advisors to Cardassia Prime to advise government on security issues. Councillor Ivala introduces resolution calling for Cardassia to apply for Federation membership. Bill stalls in committee. Ministry of Trade extends agreements with Ferengi to market Cardassian-made transport vessels and phaser banks. That's probably meant referencing the Tuffley. I don't know if that was in there before, but if that was added because of the Tuffley, then that's pretty cool. See. Observe from holofeed and listening post Hephaestus. I don't know why the Romulans are calling this place Hephaestus. It's kind of weird that they're naming it after. Is Hephaestus Roman or Greek? I think it's Greek, but I might be wrong. It's kind of weird that it's named... Either way, it's kind of weird that it's named after it. But then again, Romulans are kind of like Romans anyways, so... Anyways, Janek is fighting with Hakiv. Again. I like this. Like some disgruntled employee is like typing this in while watching this happen. Hakiv takes shuttle and leaves base for 2 days. Long-range sensors mark his progress in neutral zone. 6 miners held for questioning. Chief Medical Officer reports 2 cases of Levodian flu. 6 encrypted messages sent from Colonel Hakiv's console to unknown recipient. Recommend that transmissions be investigated further. I like that a disgruntled employee is typing on those. Now for something cool. Okay. How's everybody doing? Okay, Lima's keeping him alive. Here, let me give you guys a little bit of regen. That won't regenerate your health at all. There's a little bit more here. Access console. We were drilling near when we broke through a wall into a chamber that hadn't appeared in our scans. Blasted magnesite. It blocks everything. Sensors, tricorders, they're all useless. The chamber is large and should be suitable for an expansion of the base. There are several spherical orbs in it. We have yet to determine the nature of these orbs, but Janek thinks they are pretty. She kept one for recorders. I've asked for permission to study the orbs. They remind me of a Federation report I read once. I can't remember the details, but it was something about the Janus system. So yeah, there's a bunch of logs here. You can read them. They're super great. Here are those spheres. And here is something that went very poorly for somebody. So there's like a big tunnel there. You can't go down it, unfortunately. There's another weird, burnt-out looking dude. And if you go down here... What are they fighting? Do not hurt the captured miners. Let's get out of his way, people. Get out of its way. Communicate with Horda. No kill I. No kill I. The messages burn deep into the floor of the chamber. Acid sizzles around the edges of the letters. So that's a reference to, what was it called? Devil in the Dark? Is that what that episode was called? I think it was. Give them a little bit more regeneration. And where they first encountered the Horta, and it was burning the crap out of miners, and I do believe you get an accolade for witnessing this event and going all the way over here. So, just a cool thing that happens if you explore the map fully. Again, this is something that the game needs more of. Rewarding players for just going somewhere. You know, rewarding them with something for literally just exploring. You know, this game is really exploration light, and that probably that shouldn't be that way. But you can't go down the down these hallways. Believe me, I've tried. Scan hole. It's a hole. The hole is tunneled through solid magnesite. It's too precise to be one of the mining tunnels, and there's a slight trace of silicon residue. Curious. There are not many creatures that could do something like this. That doesn't really alter the story at all. It's just something cool that you can see. And again, the game needs more stuff like that. Let's see, unlock door. Alright. Hi-ho, let's go. Security officers, drop the weapon, sir! Put the weapon down, sir! I call the security officers because I don't want to take any chances. And magnesite be damned, because they can just beam down here whenever they want. So I don't know why I'm not just beaming down a frickin' strike team. Because I can beam down security officers. So I like to keep the miners alive. Just cause. That's kind of what it's kind of like what my character does. He was former Starfleet security. So keeping people alive in hazardous situations is kind of what he's trained to do. Cutscene.
How did you find this place? What else do you know? No matter. You won't be revealing anything to your superiors. It's disappointing I cannot give you a proper interrogation. But I have much to do and little time. The self-destruct sequence has begun. This base will be your tomb.
The reactor is going critical. We need to get out of here, but not before we find out what is so important to Hakeev that he'll destroy the base to protect it. Okay. Download Tal Shiar records. Alright. Alright, peeps. Let's get the hell out of here. I don't think you're timed on this. I think it's just like lots of big scary rumbling. So you can take your time in getting out. That's the Horda. The Horda will be fine. One does not need to worry about the Horda. I don't know why that marker was still there. Sorry. Come on, folks. Stick together. Alright, let's get out of here. Okay. Profits are down 4.7% because 47 never gets old. My mine! What have you done to my mine? There was an infestation of Tal Shiar spies in there. I just fumigated. Tal Shiar? What? I am shocked! I had no idea. I certainly wouldn't have sent you down there if... Say, you didn't happen to find anything valuable down there, did you? Because if you did, remember that I have an exclusive contract. Stop with the lies, Madron. I know you know who and what was down there. And what's it to you? This is a rough area of the Quadrant, you know, and they're good neighbors. If you're not easily embarrassed. Their cameras and listening devices are everywhere. I haven't had a single problem with Orions or Herodians since they moved in, and it doesn't hurt that I acquired the odd bit of information here or there. I'm a businessman, and information is big business. Do you know anything about what they recently discovered? Unfortunately, no. I'll admit I was trying to find out, but their systems were locked down tight. I'm sure whatever it was had to be big news. Everyone was on edge. Janek and Hakeev were barely speaking, and I once heard Hakeev mumbling something about orders. Someone's been pulling the strings, but I don't know who. I do know that Tal Shiar takes security very seriously. If you've managed to pull any files from their system, you can expect them to be heavily encoded. Trust me on that. I speak from experience. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go talk to 100 Romulans into digging a new mine to replace the one you destroyed. My profit margin for this month is ruined. Treat those miners well, Madron, or I'll be back. Madron doesn't seem to know much, or at least he's not willing to part with what information he knows without being paid. I don't think he can help us anymore. We should return to the ship and try our luck at decrypting the files we recovered from the Tal Shiar. I'm sure that they will be more useful than anything Madron has to say. Okay, so now we have a nice little sequence that takes place on your ship. So in order to finish this mission, you've actually got to visit your bridge. you have to do something on your ship. This is something that you never have to do in the game. It's not your chair, Pran. Get the hell out of it. That is Nell's seat. At least Rick isn't sitting in it. Okay. So what you got to do is you got to go... It used to be you used to do it here. You used to decrypt the Tal Shiar files from this little terminal here. Now you got to do it over here. So, each of these... so, reciprocity is the file that you have to decrypt, and it's pretty much gibberish. So, each of these has like a little error in it that you need to correct. So, let's see. Activities of note in Klingon space. File structure. No anomalous structures found in file. So, cross-reference with Starfleet records. So this file says the House of Torg was brought before the High Council for recommendation by the House of Martok. This isn't true. The House of Torg lost... Let's see, mission. The House of Torg lost its seat on the Klingon High Council after evidence was revealed that the House leaders collaborated with Romulans to attack the House of Martok. So each and every one of these has a little error. And each error you fix will clear up the reciprocity file. I mentioned it's early. Let's see. Notable activities in the United Federation of Planets. Federation Embassy established on Defera Prime. Council extends aid to Cardassia Prime. Again, foreshadowing. Klingon Federation peace talks disrupted on Regulus. Vulcan Ambassador Saketh retires to monastery on Pajem. This one's pretty obvious. But Saketh was an Undine, so he was exposed at Pajem. Let's see, apply passkey, and that's a little bit more cleared up. Select a new file. Let's see, precedence, analyze file structure. Change faulty information. Revert. The middle one? No. Change faulty information. It's the last one. There you go. Tal Shiar listening post. Hephaestus. So I don't know if there's anywhere that says what the officer IDs are. So that one is basically trial and error. It would be nice if it did say it somewhere. If I missed something, a place where it said it, let me know. Because if it says it somewhere, that would be really cool. But I don't think it does. I think that one's just like trial and error. Okay, select a new file. Referendum. See, notable actions in Romulan Senate. Senate votes to give Empress Sela power to override rulings of Imperial courts. Ambassador Jirok visits Andoria. Let's see, cross-reference. I think that's Jirok, yeah, change faulty. It's Vulcan that he visits. That's actually a small quest on Vulcan that you can do, or a Romulan is visiting. And apparently there's been, I think an assassination attempt is involved. It's a nice little quest. It takes place entirely on Vulcan. It's basically like 10 minutes long if you take your time with it. So it's a nice little bit of storytelling though. Passkey. All right. It wants you to return to Admiral Tanane's Starbase 39 Sierra. Not happening. Let's see. Secret Reman base detected in the Dara system. Listening post, Hephaestus has detected an increase in subspace communications and ships traveling to and from the Dara system. Analysis of the communications and ship traffic reveals patterns of obfuscation normally employed by Reman forces. Tal Shiar forces? Tal Shiar forces? Yeah. Tal Shiar forces, tongue twister, then intercepted a ship leaving the Dara system and captured 47. How many 47s has that been in one mission? Come on. I know that Star Trek, I know that TNG started this running gag with the number 47 that carried through Deep Space Nine and Voyager, but dude, too much. The passengers and crew were summarily executed under orders of Colonel Hakiv, but the captain and first officer were preserved for questioning. Under interrogation, the captain of the Reman vessel provided a security key that could be used to decipher encrypted communications sent to the Dara system. The decrypted messages prove that there is a base in this area of space being used by the Reman resistance. Recommendation: Tal Shiar ships should be sent to the Dara system immediately to capture the base and its inhabitants. The Tal Shiar is planning an attack on a Reman base. We need to get this information to Admiral Tanay at Starbase 39 Sierra immediately. Well, let's call them then. In progress.
The Tal Shiar records you recovered show that Commander Hakiv and his forces have been targeting the Remans for months. Obasek and his followers have been driven from their homes, had their ships destroyed, and their loved ones killed or imprisoned. Some might say that Obasek's campaign against the Tal Shiar is just. However, Obasek was planning on using Phaleron weapons in the Fahar system, which would have killed hundreds of innocent civilians, as well as the Tal Shiar cell there. This is the problem with revenge. Violence and fury only create more pain and suffering.
In full Starfleet smug mode. So again, your rewards. I'm just going to take this polyalloy weave armor, and I'm going to chuck it into the replicator. Let's see. You get 3,286 energy credits. Not much. Better than nothing. So that's Mine Enemy. Next week, we're going to be tackling Frozen. The third mission. Also, it's probably... Frozen is probably the least. Like, all these missions, almost all of them, have something going on in them. That, like, I don't think Frozen has diplomacy checks in dialogue or interacts. It doesn't have a, like, a vast, like, really cool looking map like Colosseum, Vault, Cutting the Cord, Mine Enemy have. It's basically the most straightforward standard mission of the 5. It's not bad. It's actually, what happens in it is very important to the plot of Cloaked Intentions. There's a decision point in Cloaked Intentions that actually affects... It doesn't really affect how things ultimately play out, but it does sort of affect some dialogue. And that's more than you usually get in story missions in Star Trek Online. So, we're going to be covering that one next week. And, yeah, let's go ahead and leave the ship interior. Leave the ship interior. Fly free in sector space. Oh, hi. Now, also, this is broken. The, like, clicking on someone and hitting information, that's been busted for a while. I'm really hoping they fix that. It was interesting. It was interesting to read the stories some people had made for their characters. Because some people don't write biographies. I know that my information, I don't have anything in information. Even though I've probably written novels of backstory. I kind of go crazy with backstory when I play RPGs, or when I, like, make anything. You know, I kind of want to explore why everyone on that ship is there. Like, the Woglinde has a backstory, Grimm has a backstory, Pran has a backstory, everyone has a reason for being, and a reason for doing what they do, and for having ended up where they are. So, yeah. And it was interesting reading other people's backstories, too. It was also interesting reading their captain's logs, which you used to be able to do through the Captain database, and I think they're trying. It's a functionality we need back, and it's something they could really do well to include in the STO gateway that's currently being worked on. Just like reading friends' captains' logs and such. Like some people like do some crazy role playing in there, and it's really cool stuff to read. You know, like stuff like the DOF system is like kind of a no-brainer. It's going to end up in the gateway eventually at some point, but you know, stuff like the captain's logs, like really RP stuff. There's actually a blog about role playing in STO that's a good read. So are the comments for that post. Those are an interesting read as well. There are a lot of erotic role players in STO. There are. Anywhere, any game, okay, any game you can have, any role-playing game you play. It doesn't matter what it is. It's, you know, Eve, people do it in Eve. You know, especially since Incarna. You know, WoW, Guild Wars, Anarchy Online. I know people do this in Ultima. Anywhere you can have role-playing, you're going to have horny people playing horny characters. Or maybe they're not particularly horny in real life, but they will act out. They will, like, create a character and explore that side of themselves through that character. You know, on its own, that's not... I have no problems with that. A lot of people do. In fact, there's a fleet called Starfleet Dental, which was talked about a lot. Basically, the general gist of what people were talking about was basically like look up in the player database, type dental, just keep hitting ignore until you run down the list all the way. I've never run into them. I've never talked to anybody from them, but apparently they really troll role players of all stripes. And that's really sad for a game that is a role-playing game. It is a role-playing game. Role-play is what you're here for. You know, you're here to create a character and explore this universe as an inhabitant of it. So... it's really sad. It's really sad to not see roleplay happening more often, because that's something that should happen. That's something that people should do. And some people are going to roleplay relationships. Some people are going to be in relationships and roleplay that their characters are in relationships. That's fine. You know, it's like I've been all over this game. I've never seen people, like, I've seen people engage in some mild flirting, and that's not a problem. Hell, I've done that. I did that in Neverwinter Nights back in the day, just for the hell of it. You know, it's not really a problem. I never saw anything that could be construed as pornographic, at least until I joined Task Force 69 for a while. But, and it's not what you think, because I joined them because they ran STFs. They would run STFs pretty much constantly. It's almost all their fleet did besides roleplay. But, yeah, that fleet, the role-playing in that fleet, part of the reason why I'm part of a fleet of my own now, basically. Nothing against any of them, but yeah. Some like they would send these interfleet role-playing emails, and it's not my sort of bag. You know, it's not that sort of role-playing. No. You know, it's fine, but it's fine. I encourage them if it makes the game a more fun experience for them, and they find enjoyment in that, you know, more power to you. And the same to people who do erotic roleplay. I haven't seen, like, people jumping on counters and, like, basically writing out, like, lemons in the public chat. I have never seen that. I've never heard of people doing that. So I don't know what Dental's problem is. The most I ever saw in Drazana was like mild flirting and players sitting around a table talking to each other like people normally would who are on opposing sides meeting in a neutral location. And that was fucking cool. I remember sitting at Drozana listening, figuratively reading actually, but you get what I mean. Just like listening to the stories these people would tell, and they were really interesting. A lot of people who would roleplay there were really great at improvisation, and a lot of them were really funny as well. So it's really sad to see like this group of people just trolling people who are engaging in an activity that is the point of the game, and just driving these people basically underground. I don't understand what your hatred of these people would be. Like, I don't understand what would put you off so much about them, other than the fact that they're having fun in a way that you probably can't see yourself enjoying in a game. And if you can't see yourself having fun, in this game a way that somebody else is, that's no reason to start like going after them. Like, ERP is not new. It's not new. It's been around forever. God, it was around in Phantasy Star Online back in the day. It's not going away. There are better ways to communicate with, and if for example somebody has jumped up on like the bar at Quark's and like started like making really risque, really adult, like really adult comments, and is like role playing in a way that's making people around them uncomfortable, talk to them. I'm going to assume that the majority of people who play this game are adults who grew up with Star Trek. So exercise some fucking courtesy here. Especially if somebody else isn't, if somebody else isn't acting like an adult, the least you could do is act like one. Congratulations, lieutenants. It's the least you talk to them. Personal like not even in zone chat, just like personal message them. Just like slide a note to them saying, "Hey, you're making everyone here really uncomfortable. Could you tone it down a little bit?" Like whoever you're role playing with, could you take it to your ship? And I know people have probably done that. They've taken it into their quarters and their ship interiors, and people have done it too. But just sort of like slide a personal message over to them across the table. Say, "Hey, could you like take it to your ship, please? You're it's great that you're having fun, but you're kind of making everybody around you a little uncomfortable. So, like this is the sort of stuff people do in private in real life. So could you do it in private in like your STO life, please?" Just be courteous. If somebody's like engaging in ERP and they're engaging in a public venue and they're being like really, really risque and really adult about it, and and they're like typing really adult things into the chat, and it's making people, people should be doing that anyways, because like again, like I'm gonna say the majority of people who play this are adults, and the majority of people who watch my videos are adults, but kids play this game too. Lots of teenagers play this game, so those are the sort of things that you'd be doing in private anyways. These are usually the things you do in private anyways. But again, if it's what you have fun doing, more power to you. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game the way you like enjoying the game, and don't let somebody like Starfleet Dental, unless you are... Everybody's getting promotions. Unless you are like actively You know, unless you are doing it literally just to weird people out and being a douche and making people who do like roleplay look bad just to do it, you know, don't be a dick, man. And don't be a dick to people who roleplay, because that's the point of the game. And here's the dumb part. Here's the thing that nobody gets. That nobody who's like, oh, friggin' role players, man. Here's the thing nobody gets. Everybody role plays. Everyone. Everyone. Even the people who claim not to like role players, especially those people. You know who you are. You know who you are. You roleplay. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're shaking your head no right now, but you do. You roleplay. Everybody does. To what extent you roleplay is the difference. You created a character. You created an avatar. You customized it to look like what you want that character to look like. And on some level, you empathize with that character. On some level, you empathize with the ship you fly in sector space. You have some level of attachment to it. And you may not realize that it's going on, but you're role-playing that character, that ship, in the back of your head through that attachment to them. You're concerned for what happens to that ship. You're concerned for what happens to that character. You don't want that character to get shot and die. You know? You flinch when he takes a lot of damage. On some level, you do roleplay. Everyone who plays one of these games does. It is simply a matter of to what degree that you do it. And I will leave on that. So next time we're going to be doing Frozen. It's a pretty standard, but it's still an okay mission. A pretty fun mission, and it's not a really unique map, but it does take place on a cool one. I'm sorry for those of you who just flinched when I said that. Until then, this has been Star Trek Online Rise of the Red Shirt, and I'll see you guys later. So, later!
They're preparing to fire lance weapons!